Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Mysterious Pal Show. My name is Chris, and oh, Jordan, my Jordan, he's here to Voltaire my house down. Welcome back. Jordan, thank you again, as always. Thank you for being here.
Part deux
of Who Was the Man in the Iron Mask? You saw last week's episode or heard last week's episode, then you know what we're doing, picking up where we left off. But if you haven't, maybe you should go back and listen to the first one. What are you doing? Why start part two?
Why would you start part two? That's ridiculous.
But maybe that's something cool that kids do now. I don't know if kids are actually listening to this. No one's probably listening to this as a kid, right? Anyway.
Where people like read backwards, like start at the end.
I do that with tests. I've always done it with tests. I start with the last. For some reason, I'm a weirdo. I mean, I know I'm weird, but I always feel more comfortable that way. I don't know why.
I don't think I've ever tried that.
I also didn't do very good in school, so it probably didn't work. But I always.
But you're a doctor.
Yeah. So.
Clearly did well enough.
Yeah. So maybe that's it, kids. Kind of do good in school and then,
read backwards.
I remember when I was growing up, this is such a weird thing. There was like this thing going around. It wasn't on the internet because obviously the internet was really a thing when I heard this. I mean, it was, but it wasn't like as readily available as we know it.
Yeah.
I don't even know where I heard this. It might have been from like another book. I don't think it was Kids on the Playground. It was like on TV maybe.
Okay.
If you slept on a book.
What?
Yeah, it would like go into your brain. And like, I was so desperate because I didn't
actually read the book.
I was so bad at studying because I didn't know how to study because no one ever taught you how to study. Mm-hmm. Never thought that was a good idea. Like, hey, let's teach people how to study. Nah, that's good. Yeah, whatever.
Don't figure it out.
Yeah, exactly. And no one knows how to study properly because it's all about memorization, and that's not really learning.
Yeah.
That's how people study, and that's not good.
Memory, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, that's how I work. It never was like that. Do you remember those infomercials where people like going like this to teach you, like, pay us $29.95 and we'll teach you how to read like this, like super fast.
Yep.
Did that ever work?
I have no idea.
I remember I would do that and be like, this isn't working at all.
So, I know, like, I know this actually works, but I know, like, I've heard, take that back. I remember seeing an episode of Friends where Chandler was trying to quit smoking and he fell asleep listening to like an audio thing. Yes. But he actually fell asleep listening to like a different language.
No, it was about being a powerful woman.
That's what it was.
And then he puts on the lip gloss and stuff, and he's like, "What?"
But I heard of people like falling asleep listening to a different language. It helps them like fall asleep. But
I
like,
heard that too.
Actually, laying on a book though.
I just hurt my neck.
Yeah.
I think I had a waterbed.
You don't learn it. You don't work.
I had a waterbed growing up for some reason. What the hell was that thing? That was the worst thing. When looking back on it, you're like, wow, that thing was very uncomfortable. Especially
my uncle had a waterbed. One of like cops.
So cops and waterbed kind of go hand in hand. If you didn't know, this episode's going up in January.
Yeah.
Jordan, we don't know yet, but Jordan's memory of Christmas was watching Cops.
Yeah.
With his family.
Yeah.
All piling around together. Cheersing every time someone got beat with a baton. Opa! Boom! Like,
such a weird, like, I was thinking about that after we talked about it. I was like,
you guys all sit in waterbeds too? Because it's the 90s?
Yeah.
Who thought a waterbed was a good idea?
Pile in the waterbed. I don't know. Like, I understand.
So bad.
Like, it seems like a great idea.
Yeah.
Like, just like, I'm in the ocean,
You know the thing about waterbeds is you have to have a heater on them? Because you can die.
What?
So, like, you have to have a heater on it to, like, so the bed's always hot. So you're always sweating your butt off because it has to stay at a certain temperature because if you didn't, I don't know if you die, but, like, that's what my parents always said. Like, you could die. Scaring it. Like, first off, why are you giving me a bed as a little kid saying I could die? Anyway.
Yeah. At Christmas, you're going to die.
But, like, the water would pull your heat out of your body if it was cold. So, because to regulate itself, like, water will spread out the heat.
Yeah.
So if you're laying on a water mattress, the water is cold. It's going to try to regulate its heat. Like, what's it called? stabilize itself, the heat. So it pulls the heat out of your body. That's how air conditioners work. And so like, and that it could hurt. I guess it could kill you. Maybe.
I don't know.
I mean, you could swim in cold water, but like you could hypothermia.
Sure. Yeah.
But
you think it can't just be at like room temperature?
I'm a mass of water, what's room temperature?
Whatever's the temperature in your room.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is below body temperature.
That sounds hokey to me, man. I don't know. Made up.
You think so?
Yeah.
We're going to pause this. We're pausing this 1 second, and we're going to come back, because I'm looking this up. Unpause. We're back. Without a heater, water beds are quite cold. It's not recommended to use a cold water bed because the cold water dissipates heat from your body faster than the cold air, putting you at risk of pain, soreness, and hypothermia.
Hypothermia?
Yeah.
Well, how long are these people sleeping if they're going to get hypothermia?
You can get
like 24 hours or just asleep? Or are they coma?
I mean,
it's
the 90s. What else you doing, bro?
Well, I guess
if you got a waterbed, why are you getting out?
Yeah. What if the room is just like, not the waterbed itself, but what if the room itself is the appropriate temperature?
But your body temperature is still 98.6.
Yeah.
So anything below that.
But wouldn't the room being warm itself do enough for that? Rather than heating the water?
If the room is of.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yes.
Okay.
But I think anything below your body temperature could potentially. What if you're put your thing on 68 degrees at night or 65 degrees at night?
Yeah.
I mean, and also remember, like in the summer when it's like hot outside, I'm sleeping on a waterbed as a kid.
Yeah.
It's hot.
Yeah.
And like waterbeds are not very comfortable. They're cool.
No, yeah.
I mean, it was rad. Except whenever you rolled to the edge and you got stuck on like between the board and the water thing, and you're like, and you woke up and you're like, Mom, my arm's pinned beneath this water.
Yeah, my head's stuck between the book and the board of the bed.
I always wanted to take it to like the top, like take the mattress out, fill it with water, and put it on top of a hill and like see what happens. It rolls down the hill. Cool. See if I can find it. It's probably dry rotted now.
Are those even a thing anymore? Waterbeds?
Waterbeds?
I'm sure you get them somewhere, but like those were like a big deal for a while, weren't they?
Oh yeah. Apparently they're not good for your body.
They can be.
That's probably why
no support.
Yeah, none whatsoever. Yeah. Your back is messed up.
Yeah.
We should get one again. We should bring it back.
Yeah.
I remember then after that they started making beds that had regular mattresses, but then they had like water tubes underneath them to like kind of like give you more support. But still, I mean, what the hell's the point? I'd rather just sleep on a big blob of water.
Yeah.
Not really good for your body, apparently.
You had a waterbed? How old were you when you had a waterbed?
I think I got it when I was like 5 until I went to college.
Jeez.
Yeah, I had it for a long time. Like, it was my bed throughout most of my life. I think I was like 5 or 6 when I got it.
Is that why
explains a lot?
Is that why you get like surgery?
Yeah, that's why I like a lot of back problems and stuff. And like,
there you go. Don't have a waterbed.
Didn't do really good in school. Thanks, Mom. But like back in the 90s, everybody had them.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like they were the coolest things.
Yeah.
Probably because they were probably cheaper than mattresses. Like,
were they?
I don't know. I'm just wondering like why everybody had them. Because like you had to like build them out of wood.
Yeah.
Because they had to contain this massive and like, what if you sprung a leak? You like ruin your entire house.
Yeah.
Man, we were just living on a prayer back then. Bon Jovi was living it up and dancing on those things. There has to be like, you know how like everything weird comes back? There has to be like,
I wouldn't be surprised if they
Gen
did.
Z people are like, hey, we got
waterbed.
I bet there's like, I wonder if there's like a thing on TikTok that's about waterbeds.
Cold cuts and waterbeds.
The name of our biography. Serious Pals, bowl cuts
and waterbeds.
Yeah. All right, so I had actually asked a question about like, I'll save it for next time. I had a question lined up in my brain.
Okay.
But we got on this tangent about waterbeds.
Yeah.
Bringing us right back to our boy.
The man in the iron mask.
Yes. So can you kind of do a little review?
Recap here. So it is known that this man in the iron mask was a real person. Okay. Real man. Was in prison for 30 years. Went to 4 different prisons. Then throughout that time, a little bit after, some famous people wrote or speculated that the man in the Iron Mask was actually a brother, whether it's an older brother or twin brother of Louis XIV. That's why he was in prison, because either the brother himself, Louis XIV, did not want to lose his title as king because his brother would have been a better heir. If he was actually older, he would have been the actual appropriate heir. So there's these writers speculate that the reason why this man is in a mask and is in prison is his identity needed to be kept secret because he was the brother of Louis XIV, the King of France.
And it could have been, I think you remember you saying that it could have been Louis XIII.
Their father that
didn't want a war of succession, right?
They didn't want a war, like the country of France to go through war because these two brothers were trying to vie for the throne.
And remind me, what year were we talking about here? What are the years?
We're going from 1669 to 1703, roughly.
Okay.
It is known that he died in 1703. He's buried at Bastille, the fourth prison he was at.
Still around? They tear it down.
I think there's still like a
landmark or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think there's a fraction of it left there. But like during the storming of Bastille during the French Revolution, like there's cannon fire and
they kind of tore it down.
Yeah. Not all of it. I don't think at the time. I don't think all of it was gone, but like it was pretty messed up.
And I think last episode we talked about Marie Antoinette, and I confused her with Molly Hatchet.
Molly Hatchet.
Was that her?
No, wait. Molly Hatchet. That's a band.
Who was the girl with the hatchet?
Marie Curie? No.
No, that's the lady who discovered uranium or something, or radioactivity.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Who's the one that has the sculptures of all the famous people?
What?
The wax.
Ripley's?
No, there's like
Ripley's, believe it or not.
There's like a.
Your dad? What?
Yeah.
Wait, wax sculptures?
Yeah, like all the famous people. There's a big thing just happened because of Dwayne Johnson. Isn't
it Ripley's?
No, I think it's Ripley's. It's like Madame Tussauds.
Who? Is that a French thing?
Sure.
Is it in France? I mean, is it in France or is it like in America?
It's in the States, yeah.
Oh, of course, we took something. I have to find out who this girl is with the hatchet. That's Marie Antoinette's sister or something.
While you're thinking that, man, after this last episode, dealing with someone being in prison, we don't know why this guy's in prison, by the way. We don't know nothing of this person, who he actually was, why he was there, what he even looked like. But you imagine, like, what would you do if you go to prison? Like there's that whole thing where like you beat up the biggest guy you see, you go to prison. I wouldn't be able to do that. What would you do to like make your time there easier? Like, how are you supposed to like
cry like a little baby because I don't want to go to prison?
That like
I'm not tough enough for prison.
Whenever
I'm too adorable.
Yeah, you might have it good though.
Yeah, I mean,
not at first, but you might be someone's friend.
Sure, the Hollywood version, but I'm sure it's not.
It just terrifies me, man. Like
prison is scary.
Yeah,
in any form.
Yeah, like just seeing all these like shows and movies, or like even thinking about this. Like,
I'm sure it's worse than that in some cases.
Oh yeah. Well, like,
especially you see like prisons from like other places in the world.
Yeah.
You're like, oh boy.
But some are even better than ours.
The one good thing I like about prison. So I think the cool thing about prison is it seems like people who like do the worst stuff, like molest children.
Oh, they get
are the ones that like get what they really deserve.
Oh, yeah,
like
yeah.
that what I think society should do to them from the beginning.
Yeah. Eye for an eye.
Yeah, you should be the one who.
I do think that's interesting. Like they do have like rules. Like,
yeah, like
you
that's
do that
something
to a
you
kid?
don't do.
Yeah,
like,
you do that to a kid.
That's when you're like, yeah,
we're gonna get you. We're gonna
yeah.
get you.
That's when you're like, that's when you root for those people. Like,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
You're selling drugs, whatever. As long as you're not hurting kids, whatever.
You're selling drugs.
No, I mean like in general. Like
I know, but it is kind of weird that like they're selling drugs and like they're murdering people. Who knows what else? But like,
but they're not murdering kids. But the people that like are doing the terrible things,
they find you.
Yeah, and that's cool.
Yeah,
that's why I'm rooting for those guys who may have done little terrible things.
Yeah,
whatever. But like,
I don't like. day-to-day stuff too. Like what like I'd be afraid every day. I'd be like, am I gonna die today?
Like going back to the
Let me get jumped today?
Andy Dufresne.
Yeah.
Shawshank Redemption.
There you go. Yeah. Nice callback.
Yeah, so I mean that didn't seem like it was too bad there.
No, but like do you join a prison gang? Get some weird like
I'm not
tattoos?
tough enough. No, like I'm not tough enough. That'd be like, look at this little
I'd be
child.
exercising every single day, man. I'd be in the yard. As
I don't know
call
if are you allowed to do that? Is that real? Is that just a movie?
Know, man. I'm just based totally off of movies and shows and
Yeah,
stuff like that.
I'm not sure what's going on out there.
I mean, you have to get some kind of exercise, isn't it? Like you have to. Like
I have no clue.
Depends on what you go to prison for.
I've heard like there are people that did like some like the really bad stuff. They're like in solitary confinement. They're like you get 1 hour a day outside, and they have just a little like cage they walk around
in circles. Yeah,
that'd be terrible. That's probably worse. Like prison sucks. I'm sure it's horrible and
the solitary confinement, man.
That's
like
the worst thing you could possibly do to someone. Unless
you go crazy.
Unless they really deserve it. Like
sure, yeah.
I'm trying to figure out who that girl was. Lizzie Borden.
Word. Yep. Hatchet. Yeah.
That's not Marie Antoinette.
No.
Okay, we established something good. We learned something today.
Look at that. Solve a mystery.
All right, back to Andy Dufresne.
Dufresne. All right, so most people believe, historians believe that there's no way this person can wear an iron mask, which we've kind of touched on last time. That he wore some other kind of mask, possibly velvet. I don't know why velvet. Soft.
What they had.
Yeah.
If you're...
He had to wear a full velour jumpsuit.
Yeah, that's just cool.
Including his face.
Him and Sinbad just hanging out.
Sinbad.
He's great.
But yeah, there's no real instance in history of people actually having iron masks, or there was never really a thing. Kind of like the Iron Maiden.
Yeah. Like
there's displays of them, Iron Maidens, but I think those more or less done.
Yeah, do we have like historical like relics of like, here's the iron masks they had back, or is it just like this is the only instance in history?
Only instance in history. Now, off the coast of the third prison he stayed at, St. Margaret's. This is again modern day, our time. A artist did a underwater museum with part of it has 4 masks, iron mask in it, because that's where Man in the Iron Mask goes in. But like, there's no
fake.
like, yeah, it's fake. Yeah. Same with all Iron Maidens. Like that was apparently never ever used. They're at places.
Rad
they're on
band.
displays, but like
they're a good band.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. But apparently those were never used either. So it's like kind of one of those instances where like it said they were used, but like they weren't. Maybe it's like people from the next generation or a few generations later on are like, look how terrible these people were. We're gonna say they use Iron Maidens or say they like people in masks and stuff like that. So
yeah,
who knows? So we kind of went over last episode about how some of these too far-fetched things, as far as them being the Man in the Iron Mask being a brother of Louis XIV, but not much is actually known about the Man in the Iron Mask. Like I said before, we don't know what he looks like, don't know who he is, don't know why he was in prison, just know that he died in 1703. Most of what we do know during the man's time in the prison is because of a man named Benin d'Auvergne de Saint Mars. That's one full name.
Bless you.
Good night. Thank you. I'm going to try and say that again. Benin or Benign d'Auvergne de Saint Mars. This guy died in 1708, so 5 years after Man in the Iron Mask did.
And was this the jailer?
Yep.
Okay, so this is the jailer that followed him around.
Yeah. So yeah, I said previous episode, at all 4 prisons, all 30 years that Man in the Iron Mask was in prison, this jailer, who ended up becoming governor later, was with the Man in the Iron Mask the whole time.
It's like a personal jailer for him.
Yeah.
Which gives credence to the idea that he may have been someone of royalty or someone
right.
of
Because
importance.
why is the Man in the Iron Mask coming with Saint Mar this whole time? Like, there got to be some kind of significant reason why that is. According to Saint Mar, each time the Man in the Iron Mask was moved, the mask was placed on him, special instructions were given, he could not speak unless spoken to.
But wait, it was placed on him? So it wasn't on him prior to him moving?
Apparently.
Man, this is a jumble of wires here.
And he had to have his own cell the whole time.
So he had a personal cell.
Yep. Couldn't interact with anybody, couldn't talk to anybody unless he was spoken to. The cell can only have one entrance. That one entrance had to have multiple doors to get through.
Kind of like a dog, dog park.
Had to be leashed the whole time. So I think the idea with the multiple doors, like heavy metal doors, is because to prevent people from listening.
Okay.
In case he did speak.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, I think this is all according to St. Mar, the jailer who was with this guy the whole time.
It was the jailer, the only one allowed to interact with him?
Pretty sure, yeah.
So there wasn't other people going in and out?
Yeah, so like again, most of what is even known about this man, who is a real person, Man in Iron Mask was a real person because of this guy. Each time St. Mar was promoted to a new post, a man was brought with him. But why would that be?
Yeah, so who was following who around? Was St. Mar the...
St. Mar was taking this guy with him everywhere he went.
Okay. So it was like a pet. Like he was like...
It's kind of, yeah.
Okay. I mean, maybe back then they just had people as pets. I don't know.
Yeah. While St. Mar was stationed in Pignerol, this is the first prison that man did time in, he received a letter, supposedly in 1669, from Louis XIV's war minister, the Marquis of Louvois, saying to prepare himself for a Eustache Dauger. Man was being imprisoned for unknown reasons and only known to be a valet.
I would love to be called a marquis. I know I said emperor last episode, but like when I hear, people say like the Marquis de whatever, I'm like, yes.
Yeah, it's like
that person is cool.
A noble title.
Yeah, that's a great noble title. I like the French language because it has some cool stuff like that. But I don't like the old time.
I feel if you're like an emperor, that's a lot more responsibility. Marquis, you're just kind of like, I'm just a nobleman, got some land.
This is a governor type of thing.
Kind of like almost like a duke.
The difference.
Well, I guess the kind of governor's kind of the same thing, depending on the country you're in. I don't know. Marquis is like a duke, basically.
It's just because the duke got mad that the marquis was called the marquis. He's like, I want to be called the duke, and then it's just a whatever. Human nature. Want to have something better than your neighbor. He has a Tesla. I want a Tesla truck. Whatever.
So, thing of note here is the Marquis, who was the war minister for Louis XIV, told St. Mar in this letter the man was a valet. Valets are manservants to nobility.
The man in Iron Mask was.
Yeah.
He was a valet.
This is what the letter was saying. This guy was a valet. He gave the name Eustache Dauger.
Eustache Dauger?
Yeah. Probably
sounds delicious.
All these wrong.
Sounds like some great mustard. Excuse me, sir. Can you pass the Dauger?
Excuse me, Mr. Voltaire.
Can you Voltaire me a piece of bread so I can put some Eustache Dauger on here?
So this prison was mostly used.
We're gonna get beat up by some French guys. It's gonna suck.
Yeah. They're fine.
They'd be like, Voltaire this. Smacking me in the face.
Smack.
Yeah.
They take the glove off and challenge you.
Yeah. It's still how they do it.
This prison is mostly used those who disgraced or embarrassed the country.
I thought of Bugs Bunny whenever he said that.
I challenge you to a duel.
But he's like,
yeah,
it's Bugs Bunny.
Yeah.
I wasn't thinking about French guys.
That's what they did.
Sure.
Yes. No. I'm not.
I have no idea. Like, no idea
duels happen, but I don't know if they actually like
smack each other. Yeah.
Smack.
Like Ricky Bobby. Was that from that? Was that in that movie? Anyway. Okay. Dauger. Put some mustard on it, some salami. Go.
This prison's only for people who disgrace or embarrass the country. The first prison he's at.
Okay. And they're saying this is getting moved from there?
This is the first prison he's supposed to arrive at. And
at first.
Marquis, prepare yourself for this man. One man of nobility was already there, and he was there for embezzlement. Another was there for trying to wed the cousin of Louis without his permission.
I do remember that.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to ask anybody, right? Ask the king.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I guess, it's not like you're asking the father, you're just asking for cousin.
King. Yeah.
But it is the king. It's the son king.
Can you be put in jail for that?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean,
when your cousin's just mad at you,
it's an absolute monarchy, so he's just like, he's pissed. He does whatever.
Does everybody have? Okay.
And kings at certain, heights and power were allowed to do that, or just could do it because they didn't really have checks or balances.
This reminds me of go watch a show on Netflix, History of Swear Words. Watch that with
Rob Lowe.
No.
Yeah.
It's Nicolas Cage.
Yeah.
He
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But they talk about where words come from, like swear words, and one of them's like, one of the words is basically being like, and they get like scientists and historians and stuff on it, but like he's like, this word technically came from the idea that it's the king gave you permission to do some stuff.
All right.
Yeah. Just kind of like that.
Yeah.
That's where it comes from.
Maybe, yeah.
Or put you in jail.
So, I don't know if you remember on the last episode when the man in the Iron Mask was buried, all that they put on his tombstone, Bastille.
Yes. Mark Anthony?
Yeah, it's Mark Anthony.
Mercutio. Was it something with Mark?
Rufio. No, yeah. Marchiali or Marchiali. Yeah. So at this prison that Eustache Dozier is supposed to be arriving at, the one that has the guy who was in there for embezzlement and the guy that's in there for not asking the king for his
permission.
Yeah. There's a man by the name of, just butcher this, Ercole Antonio Mattioli.
I think you did good. I mean, otherwise, maybe it's not right, but it sounds like you know what you're talking about.
Yeah. That last name kind of sounds like the name that was put on Man in the Iron Mask. Yeah. Mattioli, Marchioli, maybe.
Can't spell back then. They probably don't even know.
The
guy was like, oh, crap, he can't scratch it out whenever he's,
hammering it in with a chisel. So Mattioli at one time was an Italian count. In 1678, Mattioli was supposed to oversee a secret negotiation. The French would receive a certain stronghold in Italy near the French border in exchange for $100,000 at the time. As soon as the treaty was signed, he nullified it and pocketed the money. But then he was caught and imprisoned in Pignerol, the first prison that Man in the Iron Mask was supposed to be at.
Okay, they were buying land from Italy.
Yep.
Okay, and he just kind of screwed them over.
Yep. Took the money and just pocketed it. Eventually got caught.
Things never change, huh?
No.
It's human nature.
Greedy is greedy people. So for a long time, people believe that Mattioli was the prime suspect because he's in this prison.
Should have gotten Bitcoin. You wouldn't have had this problem. They wouldn't have known.
And because of the name being Marchioli or Marchioli on the tombstone.
Why would this count be important enough to have a jailer with him? Was that common with political prisoners?
Why count have a jailer with him?
Yeah, why would they care if he said anything to anybody or anything? What's the difference? If he just stole some money. And they would assign a jailer to him.
And this is going to be like the reoccurring thing. Like why would that be the case?
Yeah, why would this person who stole some money be that important?
Right.
Okay.
Maybe it's because he screwed over the French crown by doing that.
I'm sure lots of people did.
Of course, yeah. But for a long time, many people believe that Mattioli was a prime suspect because of the name that's on the tombstone. Both King Louis XV and XVI thought that this was the man in the Iron Mask.
Was the guy, that Martioli.
Yep. They believe the man in the Iron Mask was actually Italian, which Mattioli was.
That's why he never spoke, because he didn't know French.
Yeah, maybe.
Just like me.
But according to letters written by St. Mar, this is the jailer. It had previously been overlooked. Mattioli never made it to the Bastille, which is where the final resting place that the man in the Iron Mask was. Furthermore, it's reported that he died in 1694, which doesn't line up with the man's death in 1703.
There are records of Martioli.
Martioli, he was in the first
Italian
prison.
guy.
Yep.
Of being moved or just in the first
Just in that first prison.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he died before supposedly the Iron Mask guy died.
Yep.
Iron Man. Before Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah, before RDJ died, 1703. So the timing's off.
Right. Makes sense.
There's something called a Great Cipher. Great Cipher was created by a family named the Rossignols.
Yeah, the
Rossignols.
No, I think you're saying that wrong.
The
Rosicrucians?
Rossignols.
I don't know. I'm sure you're saying it wrong. I'm sure I don't know what the hell you're talking
I'm
about.
definitely saying it wrong. They were cryptographers for generations who served the French crown.
Okay, so this family
was in cryptography and has served
for
generations the French crown because they encrypted sensitive letters of war.
Okay.
Using numbers for syllables. In the late 1800s, they were mostly decoded, most of these letters. And in one of the letters, though, it suggests who the man in Iron Mask was.
Why would that be important?
Maybe a matter of war.
Okay. That's why I wasn't allowed to say anything.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. A General Vivian de Boulogne, supposed to attack the Italian town of Cuneo, 1691, but fled upon the Austrians' approach, jeopardizing the success of the entire French campaign in this border town. On hearing this, the king demanded he locked up in Pignerol. Again, this is the same prison people were sent to for embarrassing the crown.
Was there a lot of people there? Was just like...
It was most of men who were noble, so probably not too many people.
Like a minimum security type of thing.
And this is the same year that apparently the man in the Iron Mask arrived at that prison.
Is there just people coming in and out of this place though? So does it really matter?
I think most of these people eventually did. They weren't sentenced to life. They eventually
they just served their time and got out.
Yeah. Now, what happened to them afterwards? Whether or not they were allowed to like reclaim their titles, probably not. But I'd imagine they might have had some money saved up because they were wealthy people.
So they had something to go back to.
I mean, some of them.
None of them had masks on when they came out, so they're like, "Oh, okay,
this is who I am." But yeah, maybe their land was taken from them, their castles, whatever. But I'd imagine they fared okay. But for this guy to be going from prison to prison to prison to prison and then dying in prison, these prisons that were supposed to be for people of nobility, usually is kind of weird.
So just the fact that the Pignerol was for people of nobility probably points to the fact that this guy was some type of noble.
Yeah.
Whether he was on what side of the what country he was from, what side of the aisle, whatever.
So maybe this is why, Voltaire or Alexander Dumas was saying like this might be why people like Voltaire and Alexander Dumas were creating these stories, alluding to the fact that maybe the man in Iron Mask was of some sort of nobility or
importance above
familial
nobility,
member of the royal crown,
because he was in this
type of prison
known to be
for noble people and people who are like didn't necessarily do bad things but upset the crown in some form or another. In this particular prison itself, Bastille, which the man in Iron Mask ends up going to, that's more for like all kinds of people. But this particular prison, mostly for kind of like noble people, just makes it kind of interesting. But unfortunately, with this general Boulogne, his death was several years later after the man in the Iron Mask. Plus, one of the numbers on a cipher that was decoded by the family, 330, number 330, assumed to mean mask. But since that number is only used once, it's just a guess. So this family was using these numbers for coding. And whoever decoded this in turn, like years later, like, oh, this might mean mass. But
that's so convenient, though. It's so convenient that's like, okay, it could mean mask, which could, like, all of a sudden all these pieces start kind of being jammed in there to this puzzle.
Yeah.
When it's really like, the guy's just slamming them into the...
Sure. But it's interesting that, like, these are usually war ciphers that they're doing, that this guy would...
Why would they even mention it? So it probably had nothing to do with the mask.
Well, yeah.
I don't know. Again,
but it's also this. I feel like this a general in the French military. Wouldn't this have been documented that he ran away in the middle of a battle and would have been arrested?
Yeah.
You think that would have been like well known? Someone that high of a figure would have been known that they fled, were arrested and put in prison.
Be like well documented. One, it would probably be documented to kind of like besmirch the name of the family. Yeah. To say like
I'm just saying like documented as in like this guy was put in prison, but like as far as like it got out in like newspapers and.
I mean, they probably want to like again. They probably want to make sure that everybody knew this guy was a coward.
Yeah, and they don't do this.
Kill his career, future plans, his family. Right.
All right. So this next person is generally perceived as the most likely suspect.
Okay, so this is the most likely
the
of
one that most modern day, our time scholars and historians point to. The man who was with St. Mars during the travels, Eustace Dozier, which is that first letter that the Marquis sent, is like, pair us off with this guy with this name.
Who did he send that letter to again?
St. Mars. St. Mars.
Okay.
The guy was a jailer that the man in the Iron Mask traveled with for 30 years. All right, so as I said earlier, mentioned that first prison, Pigeonneau, used for people who embarrass the crown. Two of the noblemen were there. One was there for embezzlement, one was for not asking the king for cousin's hand in marriage. The embezzler's name was Nicholas Fouquet. The man who snubbed Louis XIV was the Marquis de Lauzun.
That's the one who didn't
ask for King 14th.
Could you imagine being like, will you marry me? Yes, I will. Get in the jail. What?
Yeah. But I'm in love, sir. And the guy is a Marquis, too.
Yeah.
Again, these are noblemen.
Man, he should know the rules. Yeah. Come on, Marquis.
The Fouquet and Lauzun both had valets who were also prisoners. But finding valet replacements wouldn't be easy. Their two cells, those two guys, their cells were side by side. When Fouquet's valet fell ill, St. Mars wrote to Louvois, the guy. Louvois was the one that originally sent the letter to St. Mars, asking permission to allow Dozier to become Fouquet's valet. Louvois agreed, but only if the original valet wasn't able to, and only if Dozier didn't interact with anyone else, including Lauzun. Fouquet and Lauzun cells right by each other. Fouquet's valet fell ill. Didn't die, but St. Mars was like, he needs a valet. Because even in prison, these guys have valets, people taking care of them. And since valets are hard to come by, because who's going to be like, oh, I'll go to prison to take care of these guys?
Right.
They kind of need someone else to like.
Who's already a prisoner.
Yeah. So St. Mars like writes to Louvois asking if it's okay. And he says, Dozier can do it as long as he doesn't interact with anyone else, including the Lauzun, who's right next to Fouquet's cell. Fouquet was expected to serve out his life in prison, but Lauzun would eventually be set free. So maybe people have to serve the whole time in prison.
Okay. But why did the other ones get set free? We don't really know, but I'm sure we could figure it out. But
yeah. So, Fouquet was the embezzler. Lauzun was the one that snubbed the king. So Louvois, the guy that said I think they'd be all these stipulations for Dozier to take part as a new valet. There had to be some kind of worrying or reasoning behind this demand. Like, why couldn't he talk to Lauzun, Lauzun, who's right next to Fouquet?
Is it like a thing where it's more of a punishment on the prisoner, the Iron Mask guy?
Yeah.
Like, you can't talk.
But why such a
don't let him talk.
Right, but why such a harsh punishment then? Because no one else has to go through this, you know.
Yeah, you get to figure out what his actual punishment was or what his crime was. Right.
I'm guessing Louvois thinks that in his own mind, he's thinking for him, Fouquet were to learn the identity or background of Dozier, didn't matter, because he's going to be in prison the rest of his life anyways.
Okay, that makes sense.
But if Lauzun, a man who'd eventually be free, learned about Dozier's past, it could get out into the world about who this man actually was.
Yeah, but couldn't the other guy just tell the next prisoner that moves in? Or like, couldn't he just tell anybody?
Yeah.
This is...
So Fouquet died in 1680. Lauzun was freed in 1681.
Lauzun was the embezzler?
Fouquet was the embezzler.
Okay.
Lauzun was freed in 1681.
Okay.
Lauzun was the one that was supposed to marry.
Yeah. Cousin.
Yeah. So after Fouquet's death, St. Mars, again, this is the jailer, finds a hole that had been dug out between Fouquet and Lauzun's cells.
Oh, here we go.
Inmates weren't typically allowed to communicate with one another. That shows that clearly they were communicating. Now, whether that's just because they're passing the time.
They crawled through a tube of poop and came out clean on the other end.
Yeah. In the rain.
Yeah.
Slow motion.
They're just in the next room over.
So, this gives me, like I said, they're bored. They need to communicate. They're, locked up, passing the time.
I forgot about how boring it'd probably be being in jail.
Yeah.
I get bored with just thinking about
Moby
Dick.
Yeah, I don't know
the book, reading a book. I'm like, oh, this is hell.
I don't know if these guys have time. Like, these guys back then were allowed to go outside, allowed to do activities or anything like that.
I doubt it.
Not
right?
to pump an iron or anything like that.
They don't have any reason to they don't have the science background of being like,
no,
we should care about them. And
yeah,
let
but
them
human
out
rights.
A little bit.
Yeah, I think human rights wasn't really a
like,
thing at this time.
No. They're lucky if they didn't have rats run around, right? Like sliding the porridges to the door. I don't know.
Yeah, my porridge doesn't have spider crap in it.
Yeah,
those white specks.
I'm telling you, those things are crazy.
Yeah,
look them up.
So either they're commiserating between the two, or that could possibly mean Fouquet, who knew who Daugier was. That that Daugier was a man in the Iron Mask, or even knew who this Daugier person is in reality. Like, what's his past? Why is he in prison? If he actually knew,
right?
So in 1681, St. Mars gets transferred to the second prison that they're both at. In exiles. Takes Daugier and Fouquet's other valet. The other valet dies in 1687. That same year, St. Mars got transferred to St. Margaret's and then the Bastille in 1698. All this time, Daugier, this man, is traveling with him.
Daugier is traveling with him every move he makes.
Yep. So again, based on this, the dates, the records, how Daugier was still with St. Mars and all these places.
Was Daugier a valet to Saint Mars?
No.
He was just like buddies.
He was just told to bring him with him.
And he wasn't like a servant at all or anything.
He was a valet to Fouquet for a little bit. That's if his previous valet was actually healthy enough to take care of him.
Why wasn't he? So did Saint Mars have another person valet? Did he not get one?
Well, St. Mars was just a jailer.
Okay, so
he wasn't actually a prisoner or anything like that. But I'm sure he had an assistant, especially when he became a governor.
Right. So it just makes.
But he's been with this guy the whole time, so how does he not know who this person is? What his backstory?
I'm sure he does.
Yeah,
but he's afraid to get jailed himself, right?
But the fact that this Eustache Daugier was with him the whole time, all those.
What they're saying, Daugier, we don't really know.
Yeah, right. People believe that this is the man in the Iron Mask, or rather, the Velvet Mask.
What did he do again, Daugier?
Didn't say.
Okay.
That's he got that. Saint Mars got the letter from the Marquis Louvois, and was like, "Hey, make a cell like this exact way. Don't anyone talk to him."
Is it
this is his
possible
last
this is
name.
some type of ex-lover to the king type of thing?
I mean, maybe.
And he's maybe Daugier, the Iron Mask guy, was like, I don't, I want to do something. I don't want to be with you anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. Whatever. Kind of
can't anyone know about us?
Repelled the advances, so the king's like, oh crap, I gotta put him away and make sure he never tells anybody anything about us, because it would probably because Louis was Christian, Catholic,
yeah.
So he probably
Catholic. Yeah.
Didn't want people to know that
he's Christian.
He may have had a boyfriend on the side or something. Or
but yeah, that's the thing, man. I remember, I don't know if it was during this or this time, but it was kind of a common thing for them to dabble.
It was okay. It was kind of okay.
Same sex, yeah.
So, but still, he had to have some kind of dirt on someone.
Sure, yeah.
So bad that, and it could have been the king.
He'd be completely covered.
But also, why did someone who trusted Saint Mars so much to be like,
right,
hey, you're going to be in charge of this dude. You can't talk to anyone ever. You're going to take him all these places. And whatever he tells you, you can never repeat.
Right.
Because if anybody knows, it's Denmar.
Yeah.
But no one, still to this day, no one knows. Did Sanmar have diaries or anything? Logs they wrote down?
I know of.
Seems silly. Sus, as the young children might say these days.
Some historians thought that Daugier's name was a pseudonym or mishmash of names to find his identity. So if that was his actual name, Eustace Daugier, like, that doesn't really mean anything. So have to figure out who this guy actually was in like his life before.
A name doesn't really do anything.
Right.
Especially at this time.
Right.
It's not like he has any type of like footprint anywhere.
Yeah. So some historians thought that Daugier's name was a pseudonym or a mishmash of names to find his identity.
They were trying to erase this guy, but why wouldn't they just kill him? That's the thing.
So yeah, so if you did something that bad, why not kill him? But it would have been really bad just to humiliate him like that.
But no one knows why they were humiliating him.
But I feel like if you're...
No one really knows why they were... But no one really knows why they were humiliating him?
Yeah. But no one knows, but that would be quite the humiliation to make this person wear a mask, put him in prison, not allowed to talk to anybody, and make him be a valet.
Yeah, but they would... That's only hurting him. Like,
right.
Because no one knows. What's the purpose of doing it if no one knows?
That's true.
If you really want to embarrass someone, you should be parading them through the streets.
Not letting them talk, they die, though.
Right, but no one knows. What's the point?
It wouldn't... I know, some people might... Whoever did this to him might think, like, that's the perfect thing, right?
So it's only, like, personal gratification. If no one knows about it, like a king would want everybody to know this. Be like, look, I have this much
necessarily.
Power. Because they did something bad.
Yeah.
Or something. Like someone... a marquee.
Yeah.
Like, why wouldn't they just murder him then? Like, they wanted them to suffer, obviously.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't they just dump him in a hole and just lock him up the rest of his life? So that points to the question, or back to the theory that this could be someone of nobility.
Right.
That the king or someone, like, I imagine it to be the king because it was an absolute monarchy.
Yeah.
He had to be the one saying, do not murder this person.
Yeah.
Because of these reasons.
Yeah.
It had to be some type of thing that points to you can't murder him because this.
Yeah. Or maybe like the king wanted to hurt this person but couldn't bring himself to get this person killed.
So it had to be someone, again.
Like somebody knew personally or...
Family member?
Yeah.
Brother?
Maybe that's where all that came from with, Voltaire and Alexander Dumas. Could
it have been... Are you done with your theories
Nope.
here? Oh, sorry. I'm going to save that one in the brain.
Put it in there. Because that some historians thought Daugier's name was a pseudonym or mishmash of names to figure out his identity. Others found records of an actual Eustace Daugier. Some have suggested Eustace Daugier de Cavoy. It's Eustace, but the Daugier is more of like a Daugier. No U, there's a Y instead. Same name, came from a high status. He was the son of a captain of the Cardinal's Guard. He was imprisoned around the same time for embarrassing the crown. He was either involved in a poisoning at a party or killing someone in a drunken fight. It's this other Eustace. It might be the Eustace we're looking at. However, this man was not imprisoned in Pigeonneau. Lavoie said he was a valet, though, in that original letter. Not necessarily meant to be a valet in prison, but a valet maybe as his like occupation before getting arrested.
Okay.
The valet was a manservant to someone of nobility.
Why? Okay. That still doesn't make... Okay. Whatever.
Yeah, so in the letter said this man's a valet. Not necessarily he should be one, but he was one maybe.
Okay. There was like a nobility that was then he became a servant. That might have been embarrassment enough.
Oh, maybe. But so who would have been a valet before, though? Not necessarily because he might not have been necessarily of nobility, but he might have been a valet for someone who was of nobility or of like a big...
Why wouldn't they just kill him?
I don't know.
Just if you did something so bad that you don't want him to talk to anybody ever again, just murder him.
Right.
You're the king, or you're a noble.
What kind of crime would like cause like that secrecy, though?
That's what I mean.
Yeah. So in 2016, as historian Paul Sonino, in his book The Search for the Man in the Iron Mask, historical detective story. He believes that Dauger was a valet for a treasurer, Antoine Hercule Picon, the Italian Cardinal Mazarin. Mazarin was the chief minister, kind of like a prime minister to Louis XIV. When Louis XIV became king, but was too young to rule, Mazarin actually ran France for some time. He was also a teacher to Louis. Mazarin, the cardinal, was almost like a father figure, teacher figure to Louis XIV. Nino, this historian, believes that Dauger was a valet for a treasurer. Treasurer was Picon. Treasurer was treasurer for the Italian Cardinal Mazarin. Okay. Mazarin, at this position, was able to accrue a significant amount of wealth. So this is something that Nino writes. Mazarin has ripped off some of his huge fortune from the previous king and queen of England. That Eustace was arrested years later, just as Louis XIV was trying to con their son, the present king of England, into joining him in a war. Dauger must have blabbed at the wrong time. He was informed when arrested that if he revealed his identity to anyone, he would immediately be killed.
Okay.
So it seemed like the cardinal was trying to rip off the monarchy. Eustace was the valet, knew of this, was imprisoned because of this, and was told if he spoke of this at all, he'd be murdered.
So the cardinal was trying to cover up.
I think so, yeah.
Why didn't they just murder him?
I don't know.
Just kill him.
Yeah.
There's no chance of it getting out then.
Yeah.
This is like one of the...
yeah.
This is like a movie where they're like, the bad guy tells him this, as he's about to murder him, he's like, I'm going to tell you my entire plan. And then, oh no, I dropped my knife. Like, just kill him.
Yeah.
If you're that worried about it, that you want to go to this trouble. But I will say that it seems like, and this is just me being me.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember what that thing I was going to say that I was supposed to lock away. It left. But maybe this is what I can't remember. Anyway, maybe when you brought this up that it was possibly maybe an Italian person of nobility that was then something happened in Italy.
Mm-hmm.
They gave this guy of nobility to France and said, look, we don't want him dead, but we want you to hang on to him for us. Just hang on to him for us. We don't want him dead. And so they had a plan maybe to overthrow something over here in Italy. Yeah. And so they, again, just kill him. Right? It goes back to that Hollywood thing.
So I'm trying to understand for this. First time we did this was like months ago?
I think it was like beginning of November, maybe?
Yeah. I don't remember this part, so I'm going to read this again.
Maybe October?
I think it was October. So Sonino, this historian, believed that Mazarin, the cardinal, ripped off some of his huge fortune from the previous king and queen of England. That Eustace was arrested years later, just as Louis XIV was trying to con their son as in the king and queen of England, and joining him into a war. Not only did Mazarin, the cardinal, rip off money from the king and queen of England, Louis XIV was trying to con their son and joining him into a war. So not only did he
go against the king and queen of England?
No, into a different war, I believe.
Okay.
So so the valet would have possibly known about...
The valet as in the Iron Mask.
Yeah.
The Iron Mask.
Dauger, would have known that the cardinal had ripped them off, and also that Louis XIV was conning England into joining them into a war.
Okay. Why wouldn't they just kill him?
No.
What power does this guy have? They have to keep him around.
I don't know.
Unless he's related to the king.
But yeah.
Or related to someone so important that they can't kill him. But it's not like he's going to come back and ride in as like the one true king. Is that what they're thinking?
Yeah.
Why would they keep him alive? Kill him.
Oh, so there's a war against the Dutch. They're trying to. Louis XIV was trying to.
It's always the Dutch. They're
Just
always
trying
the Dutch.
to get. Okay, yeah. It was against the Dutch. I know that doesn't really change anything, but.
None of this changes anything.
No.
Dude, Jack is sitting in the basement talking about this. Being confused as hell as what is going on with this man who has an iron mask on, who may or may not have an iron mask on, but has some type of mask on.
Had a mask on. The identity was concealed. So it was an actual person.
Right.
He served 30 years in prison.
And he did something so bad that they won't let him talk to anybody.
Right.
But they won't just kill him.
Yeah.
And he had a jailer signed to him.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And like that, the fact that the jailer, you think the jailer and this later governor of one of these prisons would have been like, had to have found out in 30 years, had to have known some morsel of who this person actually was. Something about the background.
They had to know. And the fact that he was
a guy's actual name.
Maybe that's why he was getting moved around, because they're like, he knows, just give him what he wants. Like they keep moving him up because he knows, and they don't want him to. But then why wouldn't they just put him in jail or kill him? Why wouldn't they kill him?
Know.
Why are they feeding, like, what is keeping them from killing these people? Just kill them. If it's so important that you don't want him to talk to anybody, kill him. He has to wear an iron mask. You're just wasting money at that point.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like you'd have to get that made specifically for that person's head.
Right.
Right?
Like someone, like who was the guy that forged it?
He's probably dead.
He forged it and they killed him? Goes back to like King Alaric. They had him when they dug out the river to bury him under the river.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
They killed all the servants, the people who like dug the river.
Yeah.
So no one will ever know.
Yeah.
They're still all the soldiers.
Isn't that kind of the thing with Genghis Khan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what they supposedly. I mean, no one really knows.
That's it, man.
We have no like direction to even think about it. Like it makes sense. Okay, the most likely scenario. It was. No, I'm saying like, what is the most? I'm asking you.
Oh, you're asking me.
What is the most likely? What do you think? Okay, not even most likely. What do you think?
Oh, let's start with why we think this guy's in prison in the first place. Start there.
Okay, why do you think he's in prison?
Based on the fact that he was in that first prison he was in, I think the first and second, possibly the third, were for people who were usually of nobility,
like minimum security type of thing. Like
yeah, and that they
petty, not like petty criminal type
they
of thing.
did like something,
not murdering people, maybe.
Right. Yeah, right.
Embezzlement.
They
what's that called? Like the soft crimes, or like the ones that are like money,
white collar crimes.
There you go.
Yeah, yeah.
Soft crimes.
Yeah, I think the fact that
I like the soft crimes.
It's soft. Slight slap.
I'm gonna murder you softly.
Yeah, I think the fact that he was in that first prison. I think like I said, the second one was kind of the same deal. It was like you did something wrong, either the crown or the country itself.
But
meant he was of some sort of importance. Because again, there's a marquis in there. There was a guy who was in there who's going to marry the king's freaking cousin. So he had, I would imagine, would have been of some sort of importance. But what would he have done, though, to embarrass the crown?
Where he had to wear a mask.
Where he had to wear a mask, yeah.
And they didn't tell everybody. What else is the point if you're not going to tell everybody?
Yeah.
It's not like you're teaching him a lesson.
Right. But you're going to leave him in there for the rest of his life.
I'm saying you're going to teach him a lesson, him specifically, but you're not going to. Why wouldn't you put it on display so other people could see what he did? It's like those people when they, what's that thing, the stockades, when they throw like apples at him, like they put them up there so they'd be like, don't do this.
Or behead him.
Or we did it. Yeah, or we did it in, we talked about in the first episode with the arch pirate, when they hung him from those baskets over the ocean to be like, look, you come here and steal stuff or steal, this is what's going to happen to you. So why wouldn't they tell people about it? Should be parading him through the streets.
Right.
You do this and you got to wear this iron mask. So it had to be something. I don't think it was something what he did. I think it had to be who he was.
Okay. I mean, that makes sense, yeah.
Like he knew he was the son of the king. or like maybe it was an illegitimate son,
Yeah.
and he wanted his real son to take over.
Yeah. Like usually they would give those unwanted kids, like ones that like they consider illegitimate or like not rightful heirs.
Illegitimate.
Yeah. I feel like they usually would just like give them some kind of title, not necessarily feel the need to like throw them in a prison.
Yeah, and can't say anything.
Yeah.
Like it had to be something like the queen's sister, or like,
yeah.
and they had a child together, like someone that like, oh, this is actually the next
like
king.
You mean like the queen had an affair with a?
Wow. And so he didn't want to kill it because it was the queen's god. Like she didn't want it dead, or like it had to be something. It had to be something. Again, I'm thinking, personal opinion, based on the story he told. It has to be who he is, not what he did.
Yeah.
Look at all the facts. He can't say anything. They kept him alive. If it was anything else, they would just killed him.
Right.
Why bother?
They
put people to death for less these days.
Yeah.
We know of. You know, like that's not right to say. They put people to death back then, from what we heard in stories throughout history, for less.
I wonder, and it's not thought of this. I wonder if it was. What if it was like an ambassador or like maybe the heir to like another country's.
And they're just hanging on to him.
Just hanging on him, maybe for ransom if they needed it. But if it's known that they killed this person, like that could start a war.
Or they're holding on to him for, it was another king's older brother.
Yeah.
And so they shipped him off over there to like, hey, can you hang on to this for me?
Yeah.
And don't kill him though, because we may need him.
Right, yeah.
But still, I think
something for leverage.
Why wouldn't that king just kill him? Because he wants to be.
Well, I'm not saying that, but maybe like necessarily like it was someone else of importance from a different country that they can't outright kill because if it got known that they killed him, they could start a war.
Yeah, but why would they keep him in another country, just in a prison? Because they would probably lock him up somewhere close to the king if it was that important.
Not necessarily.
Why would they just leave him in some piggerel prison that was in Italy? Because that invading army could just come there and get him.
Yeah.
And the army would know where he's at, or would just come there. Maybe they don't know where he's at, but like they're not going to let a political prisoner like that.
Yeah, I keep thinking it's someone of importance.
Yeah,
it has to be, I have no idea.
It has to be who they are. And so if you look at someone that they won't put to death, that means it has to be someone that someone important cares for.
Mm-hmm.
A person that someone important cares for. Or, like you said, a prisoner from another country.
Yeah.
But I don't.
What if it was like
that's being held on to? Like it's an agreement between two countries. It's not so much that they took this person.
I was thinking they could take this person, like hold on to him. It was like but then for 30 years though, hold on to this person. It was like a ransom kind of thing, like kind of.
I mean, you get busy. You're like,
yeah.
Oh, we'll get to him next.
We're
coming out next weekend, buddy.
Yeah, he's
we'll
Sun King.
We'll be out there next weekend
to
pick
you up. Got so much
up.
other stuff going on.
Yeah.
What if like I don't know what they did to people who they thought were like disfigured or
like mentally handicapped or some
type
like
of, I don't know, like
learning disability.
But they might have committed a crime, but like make them wear a mask because we don't want people looking at this person. I don't know. Like I know throughout history, like that's been done, but I don't know if that's.
But why? Again, if you committed a crime,
I feel like they would more likely than not just like kill the person, like,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It has to be someone. It has to be someone that is important.
Yeah.
Or some type of connection to someone important.
Yeah.
Like maybe it is just the king's cousins. And he knows some kind of secret, but he doesn't want to murder him. Or it has to be someone related to the queen. Because it wasn't back then like other kings would marry off their daughters.
Yeah. Or like alliances and stuff like that.
Right.
But then also caused like problems of succession too, though.
So who was Louis married to? King Louis.
Married twice. Once to a Spanish woman, second time to a French woman.
I guess they had to be of nobility.
Yeah. Oh, right? For sure.
So
yeah.
Could have been someone in her family who maybe was vying for the throne.
Maybe, I mean, maybe. Yeah.
Either one of them.
Yeah,
maybe
sure.
It could have been someone from his first marriage, the Spanish lady.
Yeah.
Who someone wanted to come in, but he was like, oh, we can't. I guess if she's dead, why does he care? Or did she die? Or It's probably her. It's probably her in the mask.
I mean, think about this though. Like, I know this happened like
She
100 or
didn't
so
die.
years before, but like Henry VIII, you know, how times he was married,
No clue.
had kids, and like beheading his wife. Like,
He beheaded his wife?
yeah, but he got his first marriage annulled.
People say it's so terrible now.
Because she couldn't produce a male heir. That almost caused a war. But like that's the thing, like it's possible, like that caused like
he didn't want to cause a war, so he kept this person. Like,
yeah.
I'm gonna hold on to this person.
Yeah.
If you come attack us, I'm gonna put this Iron Mask guy to death.
Yeah.
But I think he still would tell everybody about it. They'd have records of that.
Would he tell everybody about that though? Like,
yeah, like
hey, cause a war.
I held off. No, I mean in his own country, he'd be like, I held off the Germans because I have their. But I guess if he's just hanging out like in Pignerol,
yeah,
he's just like in Italy, like they would just go get him. So again, it has to be someone related to him. I think it could be his brother, twin brother, older brother.
I wouldn't. Yeah, I don't. I mean, who knows? Yeah, I don't think I would say it's his brother, maybe, but it seems a little too far fetched.
Are you trying to say Voltaire is not?
Yeah, I mean, like same with
telling the truth.
Yeah, Alexander Dumas, like they might have been doing that to like the purpose of yeah,
build a story.
Yeah, but I think there could be something there as far as it being a family member
of the king.
Yeah,
or of another nobility.
Sure.
But so this guy, the jailer, goes all the way to become governor.
Yeah, of a prison.
Right. So the person that got him there would have enough pull with the king unless it was the king. So it'd have to be someone who had enough.
Yeah. Well, that Marquis Louvois, he's the one that told him to do this also in the first place. He's still writing to him, I think, about this prisoner, Eustache Noger. But he's answering to this guy still, the Marquis, it seems like.
Do we have records of that going forward or just this first time?
Going forward a little bit, because like at that one point he asked if he can, Noger could be the new valet for Fouquet at the second prison, I think.
Yeah, I remember that. So,
but yeah, as far as letters, I don't know if there's any letters or anything like that. But clearly, St. Mars answering to somebody still.
So Louis XIV.
Louvois, I feel like, has to know who this dude is.
Louis XIV's son takes over, right? One of his sons.
Yeah.
So
Louis XV, yeah. And but remember, Louis XV and Louis XVI thought it was an Italian guy, that Martoli.
Yeah, but what do they know?
Oh yeah,
rich boys.
I don't know anything.
Yeah. And mommy and daddy told you it was this because fell into daddy's business,
Right, yeah.
I mean, of course, they would be the ones to know of who it is. I mean, they're kings.
Yeah. But I don't really think they eventually, again, I don't know where I'm basing this off of, but I know at some point they became Louis XV and XVI, it became such a shit show over there as far as like them not really doing much as far as like managing the country.
They weren't good leaders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're living these frivolous lifestyles, and the country's going bankrupt, and people are like, they're at war, and the general population is getting a little restless. It seems like they weren't really like on top of stuff. There's more like this like partying. But again, I don't know.
They'd be more likely to be like, kill him.
Yeah, I guess, yeah, maybe.
Tie up loose ends.
Well, they might not even know about this either, so.
This is like Louis XIV, secret son, like illegitimate son. Hey, Marquis, can you take care of this for me, dog? Yeah. Help me out. Help a bro out. I hooked up with the mom. I put her up in Versailles somewhere. Yeah. Has a cushy job, but the son, we need to get rid of him.
Yeah.
Because I don't want any problems with my son, so I don't want,
Yeah.
Why would we just dump him off on some island and be like, just live here and shut your mouth?
Yeah. Shut your mouth.
Or I'll murder you. I'll come back and murder you. If it's like, maybe that's the problem, though. There's so many different avenues that this goes to.
Yeah. But didn't they like dump off Napoleon somewhere, exile him, he came back?
Did they?
Yeah.
The hell would I know? No, I do like Napoleon. He seems like a cool guy.
He did some.
Did he?
He did like conquer a shit ton of stuff.
Yes, I mean.
Yeah, he was an emperor.
Yeah.
Himself. Or I don't think crown himself, but he became emperor.
You got a lot of cool statues with the horse always up.
Yeah. Horse always up.
Up.
Yeah. I don't know.
That's where we're at.
God, man.
Well,
Back to square one with this.
yeah, we just come full circle back to nothing. Start at nothing,
No
back to nothing.
answers.
The circle of life here on the show this week. Anyway, Jordan, thank you
Yeah.
for this story.
Yep,
we
yep,
have
yep,
no
yep.
answers.
No answers.
We have some theories, which probably aren't very useful,
No.
very helpful to most people, or to history in general. But maybe they're entertaining.
Yeah, no, we get throw some stuff out there.
There's a lot of stuff. I mean, there's a lot. I'm surprised there's not more theories. Like, what is?
Oh, there are, man. There were, and I was just like, this is
Okay,
just like,
so what is like? I want to talk to like or hear, what does a historian from France? We have in America we have a lot of historians about like World War II,
Yeah.
Civil War,
Yeah.
the experts that you talk to,
right.
and or listen to, and they have tons of details. Like, what are the people in France that are like?
But what do they think?
What does the French historians think? Are they all like, oh, it was just a allegory
Yeah.
for don't mess with the king,
Right.
or it was whatever. It was a story to say, we can make you disappear and not kill you. Like, there's something worse than death.
Yeah.
Here in France.
Yeah, well, like maybe that guy was so vain that like that would be more of a punishment than actually killing him, making him wear a mask for the rest of his life.
Yeah, but
in prison, like,
why don't they just burn him, throw him back on the street, like burn his face off?
Yeah.
Like because then again, if he's so vain, they would want to embarrass him by making him be in front of those people again with a
That's
burned
true.
off face
Yeah,
or
yeah,
whatever, or the ugliness that they would say.
Yeah, they could, like scar him.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, that's what he would be. And during this time,
Yeah.
I'm sure they did that, with other people.
Yeah.
I'd imagine. But this guy, the mystery, just like we're a mystery this week on knowing what the hell we're talking about. Jordan, thank you for bringing this to us again.
Sure, yep.
2 episodes in a row. What a roller coaster.
What a doozy.
Yeah. And I want to say thank you to everybody listening. If you want to help us out, we would greatly appreciate it. Do that by subscribing to us on YouTube, following us on a podcast platform. You can also connect with us on any social media at Mysterious Pals on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, on X at mysterious_pals, websites mysteriouspausonline.com, I believe. I have to go look in the show notes. I can't remember off the top of my head. I thought it was online. It might be just
What website?
Yeah, what's it called?
MysteriousPals.com.
Oh, we got that?
I mean, yeah, you got it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, the website?
Oh, the Gmail is at mysteriouspausonline@gmail.com.
Yeah, sorry, yeah.
Yeah, so someone stores stupid name on Gmail. But, Jordan, thank you again.
Thank you.
Everybody at home, thank you for being here with us. And we will be back next week with an exciting tale that is a mystery because I'm not sure what it is. Yeah, I don't really know if we talked about it yet.
No.
We'll get to that some point in the future. This episode's going up in January, so have a great January. Hope you had a good holiday, good New Year's.
Yeah, Happy New Year.
And again, we'll be back next time. So Jordan,
Chris, stay mysterious.
everybody out there, as always, stay mysterious. We love you. Good night.
Goodbye.